Hey guys, it's me, my face, and fall fleece. I don't think I can express to you how happy I am to be wearing fleece. It is not hot here. It's supposed to go back into the 80s like next week, but I don't care because right now I am not sweating. That might have been more information than you required. Guys, I have so many things. I have so many things to tell you about and talk about. I did not do a lot of stitching this week. I did not. But I was a busy girl this week. I had things to do and I had nights that I just fell asleep. That's not that interesting, but it happened. So let's just dive in because my pile is significant. Let us start with where I think we should always just start. Death by cross stitch. There isn't anybody who doesn't want to see it. I just wish I had more to show you. Last week, I very enthusiastically started the alphabet, and this week I added a line. I mean, it's a nice line. I did it correctly. It's purple, but it's just a line. Just a line. The next thing that I oh so barely worked on was Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. I got a little bit of a teeny little pant leg. I mean, seriously, that little blob of blue, that's it. I know I was on gangbusters last week on this, or the week before. This week is not as much. Oh, I have to say, this blue, which I will put the number up there because I don't know what the heck I'm stitching in. I am envious of people who say, well, I was using 363 and it wasn't really quite right. So, I moved over to 4249 and, that obviously is the better. I have no idea what happened. If it's not 310 or a crew, I got nothing. Anyway, I was stitching with this blue and it was almost, I don't know if it was the lighting, maybe it's just my skein, but it almost looked slightly variegated. Maybe it was like just a bad lot of DMC, but I was really enjoying, and I am not a fan of blue. Not really a fan of blue. I was enjoying stitching that leg. The other thing I did is I stitched this last night while we were watching, I'm not going to call it the worst movie I've ever seen. I don't think I could name the worst movie I've ever seen, but I had to stop and consider whether this was the worst movie I had ever seen. It was just called Boo. Just Boo. Boo. And it looked like it had potential. Even if that potential was going to be a cheesy kind of Halloween horror movie, no. It was confusing. It was strange. I think I tried to give it too much credit and was trying to read these deep philosophical meanings into the stuff that was going on. Nope. Nope, there was no payoff. Not recommended. 3 out of 13 would not boo again. I even actually stopped stitching, put it down, and started paying attention to the movie because I thought I was missing something. I thought I cannot stitch and watch this movie because I am missing subtle subplots. It was nothing subtle. Subtle when I see it. The next thing that I worked on was By the Light of the Moon by Primitive Needle. I love this. I really do. I wish I had worked on it more. But I got the pumpkin done and the little mushrooms. I had a thought. I have them once in a while. And I think I am saying it specifically about Primitive Needle because she's the one I am the most familiar with. But I always think of Prim as not cheap, but, a little girl in a farmhouse stitching on what she has available to her, rustic kinds of things. And yet I go and I look at how she modeled these pieces and the recommended threads and things. This expensive. Girl on a budget. So I always think it's funny that the most primitive of things that I can find to stitch are calling for very not primitive materials. But I think I made a good conversion. I made a good swap out. I'm stitching it on mystery, even weavish type things. I like the outcome. I like the way it comes out. So that's what matters. The last bit of stitching I did this week was on the Haunted Mansion mystery. I think it was a mystery Sal, but it's long done, so it's no mystery anymore. But I got the purple chair finished, and I continued the purple down into the floor. Really just because I wanted to stitch in purple. So this was very accommodating. I think it's cute. I think it's fun. I'm going to finish it. I don't know that there was a chance that I wasn't going to finish it, but I feel like, I don't know, I just enjoy doing it. I can pick a little piece and just work on that and be done, and it's not a stressful piece. It's not something that I feel like I have invested a huge amount of time and resources and money into, and it's not like Death by Cross Stitch where I'm like, you really should have finished it by now. You should be loving that more than you are. You made a big deal of it, young lady. Finish it. Next, we're here to say goodbye. We're here to say goodbye. Not forever. Just, I had to take this off the Q-snap to make room for projects that I'd rather work on. So this is where we're leaving off on Wicked Christmas. It's a big chart. It feels like I have done a lot of it, and I haven't. There is a lot more to this chart. There's like a whole city down here and things. I'm not picking it up. I'm just not choosing to stitch on it, so why have it using up a Q-snap? If it catches my eye again, I can always just take it out and start again. I think I'm only really working in, there's only a couple of, I think, Victorian motto threads, so I can liberate those from the bag and just leave the DMC in there. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So goodbye to Wicked Christmas. As those of you who follow my Instagram already know, I am starting Templars Prophecy. Yes, I know I have not finished my other long dog sampler, but I'm doing this one because I want to. And it's smaller, so I have half a chance of finishing it. I ordered the fabric, I think Monday, and I received it Thursday from 123 Stitch. So they were fantabulous. It even got here a day before the post office said it was going to, and it may have been a recent video or I may have hallucinated it, but I was having the conversation that, you know, it used to be that somebody said, well, you know, it'll be there about like the 8th. And you had this hope inside that it could get there earlier because sometimes that happened. But now we're so good at predicting when things will arrive that nothing ever seems to arrive early. It arrived early. It arrived early, and I have it. 36 count vintage country mocha. It's a Zweigart. I think we all are familiar with vintage country mocha. Is this the one though that is, I think this is the one that's on like one side but not the other, or more on one side but not. Either way, I will have to remember to pick the correct side. So I have this. I bought a few fresh skeins of DMC 310 because, like a fool, I'm going to do this in black again. I toyed with the idea of using my black silk hank that I had gotten for the Salem Memorial Respect piece that I did way back a million years ago. But then I said, well, maybe I don't have enough, and how will I ever know? And I'm not good at math, and what happens if I order more and they don't match? And there was a lot of things, and finally I said DMC. DMC, you can hold it in your hand, you can see it, you'll know. So it's going to be DMC 310, and I'm going to find a red kind of highlight color to use, but looking through the pattern, unlike Death by Cross Stitch, I'm not seeing a lot of places that I want to put red in this. I believe there's the cross on the Templars armor that I think I definitely want to do in red, but other than that, there may be a couple of banners. So I might be okay even just going with a DMC variegated. I know there's one, I'm probably telling myself up here, that kind of starts as a dark red and then goes to a brighter red and then just goes back down to dark. It doesn't get too pink or anything. So I may just end up using that. But either way, I'm ready to start it. I'm thinking of starting it Monday. And at the prompting of my stitchy godmother, Laura, we are going to use a hashtag. And forgive me because I don't have it memorized, even though I made it up. So the hashtag to use on Instagram will be hashtag Templars LDS SAL. Templars LDS SAL. And I will follow that hashtag and we can stitch along together. And I'm not going to say it's a goal of mine, but it's a goal of mine. It doesn't have to be your goal. I would like to see, I haven't even looked to see really how many pages are in this pattern, but I would like to have 4 pages done. I know this is a lot. 4 pages done by the end of the year. I know. It really means if I'm going to do 4 pages on that, I'm probably going to fall very behind on my other projects. I know. But I do not want this to languish. I want to get it done. I want to see it come to fruition. I want to get it framed because I feel like it will motivate me to get Death by Cross Stitch done. Because if I see how good the other one looks, I'm going to want to throw my back into the first one. These are the lies I tell myself. And because if I'm going to go batshit crazy and start one new thing, why not just start 2 new things? Why not start a Handmaid? Why not? I'm doing it, people. I'm doing it. I mean, I have the magic guide. There's a magic guide in my hand. And I'm not going to dye it. That's just, it is white-ish Ada, and I'm going to just use it. I don't know who I am. I don't know who I am anymore. We went to Eichel's last night because I started kitting up all the colors. And I had way more than half. And these are colors that I would not usually have purchased for any other reason. So I feel like at some point I kitted this up. And I don't know, I disseminated it into other things. I don't know what happened. Probably by the time I finish this, I will find the bag with all the floss in it. Already bought. But look at how it's at. I haven't, obviously, what do you call it? Unskeined them and put them on thread drops. Look at this. Look at this. That's DMC, guys. Look how good DMC looks. I am having such a time organizing my floss this way. The hardest part is making the thread drops, which are really, they are note cards that I'm cutting into 4 and punching holes in. Still don't have a reasonable hole punch, but I'm working on it. But even DMC looks good like this, looks better like this. I mean, these look like kind of just what you're used to, but you look at this and you think that's fancy floss. That's, ooh, let's look at that. I like it. It's making me enjoy the floss more. I know what I have. I can see it in front of me. I can put, a card on it that says this is for moon hair and just grab it off of the hook. What I actually did, if you remember those hangers that I bought for my fabric with it's the pant hangers and they have like room for 5. I have been clipping the loops of thread into those and hanging it on the back of the door, and it looks nice. It actually looks nice. It's organized. I can find things. This was a win. Once I am all done, I will show you the outcome so that you can decide exactly how crazy I am. Don't bother trying to figure out exactly how crazy I am. There are professionals already on the case. Last week we had a giveaway, and you should be seeing me pick the winner for the Let the Music Play patterns from Stony Creek. The winner was Amy, I'm gonna check your last name, Sineva, Amy Sineva. If you could either, I've already commented on your comment, but if you could email me or Instagram me or Hangout me your mailing address, I will get this in the mail for you as soon as I can. I actually have to go to the post office now with these things, which is, so I just need a few extra days to figure out how to get to the post office. So to go with my fancy new projects, I have decided that I am in desperate need of project bags. And since I have a sewing machine and I have fabric and I have the somewhat ability to create them myself, I cannot justify buying one. So I think maybe tomorrow, Sunday, I will take the first part of the day and make it a sewing Sunday and try to get my Edgar Allan Poe cross stitch onto a project bag. What I keep waffling back and forth with is the kind that I want to make, because part of me says, be easy on yourself, be good to yourself, and just do the Vana style project envelope, which works great. I have one for Death by Cross Stitch. It's big and roomy enough that it holds the cone of DMC, multiple copies of the pattern. Do that. But if I want to put Edgar on there, I would have to put him on the back so he doesn't get covered by the flap. So I would have to lay him out, get the fabric kind of framed around him, and there's a lot of zhuzhing, there's a lot of mathing, there would probably be a lot of swearing, possibly the throwing of salt at things. So it's easier, I think, for me to get him on the type of bag with a zipper, but then I have to create a bag with a zipper. I have had some success in putting zippers in bags, but it's an all-day process for me, and I just don't know if I will get angry and throw it. Can I do a zipper style bag without a zipper? Maybe. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. And the other thing I need to make is, I've mentioned it before, is the tool roll, because I have a devil of a time now stitching downstairs. My cat Socks has become relentless when it comes to touching my threads and trying to get under the work and sitting on my lap while I'm trying to stitch, and he's all over the place, and I love him, but he's a meatball. So I really need that ability to roll something up every time I have to go get a cup of coffee and not have to put everything in a bag and zip up the bag and put the bag over there and move, because that's way too much energy. I have limited resources of energy. You can't be using it just moving tools around. So I think I've decided to use the pillowcases that I had shown previously to make the tool bag, because that does not necessarily need to be very well lined or padded or anything like that. So I may give that a shot tomorrow too. I just want to tell you that I have not heard from StitchCon yet, and my anxiety is like here, because I know there are people who have heard, and I'm getting already bitter and resentful, which is dumb, because come on. And I know that in Pam and Steph's, I think, most recent video, they said, we're working through the list. We're only human. You'll hear. So, I'm just trying to be calm and not, no waffle between, what if I get an invoice and I don't want to do this? And then what if I don't get an invoice and I do want to do this? And then, I don't know, what if my hair looks bad on my video? And, because anxiety. What if I go and nobody talks to me, or nobody thinks that, nobody wants to sit with me, or I sit at a table all by myself and just stay there? And what if I just stitch in my room and I can say that I was there, but I didn't actually have to leave my room? These are the things that wander around inside my head, bumping into each other. It's a tough day. So hopefully I will hear soon, because I would like to pay that invoice, because it will be incentive for me to just do it. You know, if I had until June to decide, I would never decide. And then I just wouldn't do it. So I'm hoping that having to pay the registration fee will prompt me to just keep rolling. I mentioned that I had had a busy week, which was why I didn't stitch a whole lot. One of the nights that I usually would have been stitching, I went and saw Margaret Atwood. She was actually in the UK for the launch of The Testaments, which is her sequel to Handmaid's Tale. If you haven't read Handmaid's Tale, do that. And if you have read it, definitely, I haven't started reading it. I hope to start reading it this week. I need to, find some time to really sit and read it. I don't want to just skim through it like I do with some things. And I thought about getting the audiobook and just didn't, because, I don't know, I love my Kindle. I like to read my Kindle. If you are interested in purchasing it, I have a link down below. It's an affiliate link for Amazon. So I have linked to The Testaments, and The Handmaid's Tale down there. So if you haven't read the first one, I recommend getting started. But the interview that she gave for the book launch, she is just, I love listening to her talk. I watched her masterclass and I was just swooning the whole time. She's just delightful, and she's so smart, and she's so sharp. And I love the way she'll answer a question sometimes just with a little halfway smile, and she'll just go, Obviously, her books have become more recognized due to the current political climate and the very real potential that people, all kinds of people in all different ways and places, are losing their rights. And she really does take what used to feel like a big step into the future to show what could happen if we let that keep going on. Now it feels like less of a big step into the future. So, I think it's an important book and set of books to read. I think that she's very important to read. In addition to her interview, they also had 3 actresses do readings from the new book. And the tone, everything just feels just like folding right back into Handmaid's Tale. It's as if you just put one down and picked up the next one and started a new chapter in the same book. So I'm really excited to get started. My Kindle says it should only take me about 5-something hours to read. So maybe I can read it within the week if I just do an hour a night in bed. I think that is about it for this week. I am going to get this edited and try to maybe do some stitching tonight. Maybe I'll start something. I don't know. But we'll see. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing and for your comments, for your likes, and even your dislikes. Thank you for being my community. I need you. Bye, guys.